Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Darati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bhandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanshakalpatarubhyashta Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebho Vaishnavevo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namahum Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtatare Shatarine. Harivol, dear devotees, dear friends. So because I am in your sweet company, I feel obliged to share something sweet with you today. Because with friends we should share our heart. Srila Prabhupada in the Krishna book, actually it's the first book I read from Srila Prabhupada. Very beautiful book. Huh? It's interesting that Srila Prabhupada, he decided to write this book because he wasn't sure he would be able to finish the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. So that's why he wrote Krishna Vik. He wanted to make sure that everybody in the world will receive Krishna's pastimes, Krishna Lila. So in the Krishna book, if I remember correctly, it's in the introduction, Srila Prabhupada says something quite amazing. He says the perfection of our life is actually to, when we leave this body, to go in the planet where Krishna performs his Boma Vrindavan Lila. And he explains Krishna as like a caravan, and he goes from one universe to the next. Although he's eternally situated in Goloka Vrindavan, he also goes at the same time from one universe to the next to liberate all conditioned souls. And Srila Prabhupada says that this is our perfection. It's to, in our next life, to what he means by going back home, back to Godhead, this is that. So going back home, back to Godhead is very significant for us. And Srila Prabhupada, how many times did he say that? Going back home, back to Godhead. And in our very Krishna book, he says that actually it's to take birth in the Boma Vrindavan Lila, in the universe where Krishna is accomplishing his pastimes. But we have to meditate on that. When we speak about taking birth, what does that mean? So what happens, how does Krishna take birth when he comes here? How does this associates? Because when Krishna descends, we know the story. Krishna wanted to descend in the material world. He was with Radharani, and he told her that he wanted to come with her in the material world to, manifest their sweet, loving pastimes. And Radharani, she didn't want to. She said, no, I don't want to come in this world. Just like Prabhupada, you know the story. Actually, Prabhupada shared that with one of his disciples. He shared that actually, when he was in the spiritual world, Krishna was speaking with him. And Krishna told him, I want you to descend in the material world to liberate the conditioned souls. And Prabhupada said, no, I don't want to come in this world. No, please, no. I understand him. Totally. And Krishna says, please, I want you to go and I'll prepare everything for you. The path will be carved, everything, You just have to go down and I'll prepare everything for you. You just have to write books, and by your books, everyone will be liberated. So that's how Prabhupada descended. So, okay, I was speaking about Krishna. This is something very important for us because it is, how to say, we're meant for all of this. So, okay, I was asking the question. So, how does Krishna takes birth? Because when he comes down, we're speaking Radharani. She didn't want to come, but Krishna said, okay. Now she said, I can come in one condition, that you take down also Vrindavan, that you take Govardhan, Yamuna River, so that we can accomplish our pastimes together there. But when Krishna descends with Radharani, the whole family descends also. And Krishna has a big family. So understand that the demigods who wanted to be part of Krishna's pastime, they took birth, but they became just, not that they became the associates, but what is described by the Acharyas is just that they became part of these personalities so that they could experience it also. But it's not that they were directly these personalities. Because after what is described, when actually when the Yadavas, they killed each other, actually it's the demigods who killed each other. The associates, they already came up at that time. You know? So it's only the demigods. And after that, they were already separated. So what happens? They take birth. All the associates, how do they take birth? Do they take birth on a tree or from a fruit, or how do they appear? It's very relevant for us. You'll understand why I'm asking you these questions. So how do they appear? They don't come out of nowhere. So they
come from mother and father.
Yes, they come from, just like Krishna came from his mother and father, all his associates, they come from his mother and father. And I was meditating on this from Srila Prabhupada in the Krishna book. So when we go meet Krishna, when we are introduced to go into his Boma Vrindavan Lila, how are we introduced? True mother and father. So this is very, very significant for us. You can keep that in your heart for the rest of your life. So not only Radha and Krishna are waiting for us, there's a whole family there waiting for us, but our very own father and mother are waiting for us. So what does it mean for us to be introduced in Boma Vrindavan Lila? That is, we are introduced to the womb of our eternal to-be mother. So think about that. We had millions of mothers and fathers and sisters and brothers and friends and husbands and wives. But actually, right now, as I speak, there's a mother and there's a father that are waiting for you. So this should be our impetus. This should be our inspiration. You have right now, there's a mother that is waiting for you in that Boma Vrindavan Lila when it will manifest. This is inconceivable and completely mystical. But when we come, then arrangements are made that we go in that universe, just like Prabhupada said, where we are introduced through the womb of our eternal mother. So this is very special. Our mother and father are waiting for us. That means we have brothers also, we have sisters, we have cousins, we have pet. Krishna, he has a pet monkey, he has a pet parrot. Krishna has a dog also. Did you know Krishna had a dog? Everything in this world is a reflection of the spiritual world. So Krishna has a dog to go with the cows and not only cows, we said there were buffaloes and goats also. And who was saying that? So there's a whole family there. So we should meditate on this. We should pray for our mother and father also. We don't pray just for Krishna. I mean, Krishna is never alone. And when we're part of Krishna's family, that means we join our own very own family also. So we should meditate on our father, our mother. We should pray to them so that we can feel a connection with them. We should pray to our sisters and brothers. We should pray to our home, because everything in Vrindavan is alive. Everything is consciousness. Everything is a person. So when you come into the house is a person that welcomes you. So when you sit on the chair is a person. It's alive. We can get a little bit a distorted idea from the Beauty and the Beast, the Disney cartoon. You've all seen that, no? Yes. Everything is alive. Well, it's like that in Braj. Everything is alive, you know. It's quite amazing. So your home is a person, the chair. Think about that. You don't only have actually brothers, sisters, mothers, and fathers waiting for you, but the clothes are persons also. So when you get dressed by your mother, every morning the mother, she dresses the gopis and the gopas, they get dressed by their parents. So when your mother, she dresses you with people also. So we have people all over our body also. So like, or example, if you're a gopa, then you have like a dhoti is a person. The earrings are persons, the turban is a person, then they have flute also, not only Krishna plays the flute, but all the gopas, they have flutes also, they play the flute with Krishna. So the flute you have is a person, the stick, the rope, everything is a person. So you have like a festival of personalities on you when you dress also. And you have an eternal relationship with your dhoti or sari, or if you're a bird with like whatever like family you have, you know. So we have eternal, there's like ornaments waiting for us also. There's a dhoti or a sari waiting for you, but your eternal dhoti or sari. Isn't it amazing? So all these are personalities, and you have an eternal personal relationship with all these individuals. So what are we waiting for? That's why Braj Lila is so much important in our life. Because actually we have so many people waiting for us. So they're all waiting for us in separation. So why are we doing? What are we doing? Why are we making them wait for us? You know, Prabhupada said that Krishna has much more love for us than we have love for him. But all the family, they have love for us. And they're waiting for us to come. So this should be our impetus or meditation. This is not a joke. It's not a fairy tale. This is a joke. This world is a joke. This is a fairy tale. You understand? Our factual reality is our relationship with Krishna, Radharani, Braj, our family, our house, our ornaments, our flute, or this or that. This is our true factual reality. So this is all a dream. It's just a joke. This is the truth. I'm not saying that. So this is just a big joke, and we've been believing that joke for way too long. That's the thing, that's true. So we have to wake up. We have to wake up really. We have to cry in the heart. We have to cry for Krishna. This is the school of crying. Just like Gaur Govinda Maharaj said, we have to cry. We don't even know who we are. We believe to be this, that, or we have this position, I am this, I'm that, and this is all. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I'm not sannyasi, I'm not grihastha, I'm not brahmana, I'm not this, and we're not, these are just, you know, it's just, even this temporary devotional identity is false. We cannot attach ourselves to this. It's the best external identity in this world. It's the most favorable because it's connected to Krishna. But at the same time, it's false also. So we cannot attach ourselves to that. It can be an impediment also to awakening a true relationship with Krishna. So we cannot. We can be trapped even in this devotional identity. And there's much more than this. We have to go beyond this. It's very important. Otherwise, we'll get stuck in externals and we won't be able to connect with our true identity in connection to Radha and Krishna. So we should not let ourselves be illusioned by this. It's very important. That's why Braj Lila is important. Because Braj is not only Radha, Krishna, the Gopas, the Gopis. Braj means we have a place there also. Our place is already there. We just don't know about it. But it's there. It's there. It's just like Prabhupada said, it's just time. Just time is separating us from Krishna. There's only time. And the discovering. It's just, we're the soul. It's just a very, very, for us it seems, because we're identifying with it, it seems to be very thick and very big and very imposing and very disturbing. But actually we're the soul, and it's just a small covering, covering us from our true reality. So it's big for us because we identify with it. That's the only thing. It doesn't need to be big. It can just there's this verse that says that for one who surrenders to Krishna, then this ocean of science just becomes the size of the footprint of a calf. This is what is happening. So when Krishna looks at us, what does he see? Does he see all these coverings? No, Krishna sees a reality. That's why he is compassionate towards us. That's why he's ready to accompany us life after life in the body of a spider, a worm, or this or that. Because he loves us, because he sees us who we are really. He sees our place with him. And that's why Krishna is ready to tolerate everything. Because he's also waiting for, the whole family. Krishna is waiting, Like the story of Gopakumar, when he met Narayan, he said, I was wondering, would you be turning yourself in this life or this one or this or that? And I was crying for you and I was making arrangements, but you didn't do anything. And now finally I can see you. Now that we're together, let us stay together forever. This is the feeling of Krishna for his dear devotees. Okay, I have to stop here because otherwise I will... how do you open this this box here?
Close.
Okay, I saw the password. Aha. Okay, so we were speaking the importance on meditating on Vrindavan, but not just on Vrindavan and Krishna, but also it has to become more specific. What is the conclusion of Nectar of Devotion? For me, the conclusion of Nectar of Devotion is that we have to attach ourselves and surrender and take shelter of a Brajbasi in Vrindavan. This is the conclusion of Nectar of Devotion. We have to pray in our heart, because what's happening is that we are introduced through the womb of the mother, but there is, like the Acharyas and the Goswamis are explaining, or Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Jayavadharma, like what's happening is that we have to be trained. That's one thing I forgot. Why do we have to go to Boma Vrindavan? To be trained in prema. Because Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he says in the Madhura Kadambini that actually our final ultimate purification of all our anarthas and identification with matter happens only when we meet Krishna face to face. And how do we meet Krishna face to face? In our spiritual eternal body. And this happens, we're introduced in Boma Vrindavan. And we know the story actually. A proof of that is the story. This is what the Acharyas are explaining. A proof of that, you know, like in the Rasa Lila, there were some gopis who could not go meet Krishna at the Rasa Lila dance because they were not pure enough yet. They had not seen Krishna yet. Although they were in Boma Vrindavan. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains this. They were in Boma Vrindavan, but they did not have final supreme purity to be able to associate directly with Krishna. And then what happened? Because they could not go to the Rasa dance, they became so much in separation that they left their body. And this was the ultimate purification. After that, they were able to meet Krishna face to face. So it proves us that actually we need to go through a training in Boma Vrindavan. So how are we trained? We're trained because we understand from what Prabhupada is saying, Nectar of Devotion, is that we're meant to have a sthayi bhav, which means like an eternal relationship with Radha and Krishna. It can be in Madhurya Ras, it can be in Vatsalya, it can be in Sakya Ras, in Dasya Ras, in Shanta Ras. But we are meant to awaken this. So what happens is that we are trained by what we call a Yukteshvar, a group leader who has many disciples, and who is, like you could say, kind of our eternal guru, and who is training us in prema, but according to the rasa that we are meant to be eternally. So we associate with that personality that is meant to be a group leader, and through his association, the association of the Nityasiddhas, the eternal associates of the Lord, we are trained in developing prema for Krishna. Imagine, when you associate with devotees in this world, you develop bhakti, but when you associate with the eternal associates of Radha and Krishna, what do you develop? Prema. So we are trained, actually. And through that training, we develop love for Krishna. We develop prema. And then after that, we are introduced in Goloka Vrindavan, where we spend the rest of our life for eternity. So, in the Nectar of Devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rupa Goswami says something very important, is that the conclusion is actually we cannot go on our own in Vrindavan, we have to be introduced. So we know for us, we are introduced by Srila Prabhupada. Maharaj has been speaking a lot for the last couple of days. Srila Prabhupada is our bridge to Vrindavan. He introduces us to Vrindavan. But there's also one thing is that we have to understand, we have to meditate on a special Brajbasi. I mean, if it's not that we can fake it or just imitate it, but we should pray to Krishna in our heart, because we're meant to become someone. It can be, it's not necessarily a gopa or gopi, but it can be a bird, a parrot, or a tree, or a chair, or a cake, or this or that. There's so many personalities. It's not that everyone is just a gopa or a gopi. There's so many different kinds of rasa in Vrindavan. It's quite amazing. I mean, from what we hear from the acharyas, it's just like a drop of what is really happening in Vrindavan. We know that from the story of Gopakumar. When he saw just the gate of Nandagram, just at the gate, he looked at the gate and he said, wow, what I'm seeing there, I'm seeing beauties and wonders by billions and millions, that it is so beautiful that actually I will never be able to describe it with words. And he was just at the gate of Nandagram. Imagine just entering Krishna and his whole family, the big feast, everything, just Madhu Mangal cracking jokes. We speak about Madhu Mangal also, if we can. So, I mean, this is Braj. I mean, there's so much we have to learn about. There's so much details, but there's still so much that is not revealed yet. And we should pray to Krishna deeply in the heart. That's what we're meant to be. Please, Krishna, help me to understand who I am in eternity. Help me to develop that. That's what we call sambandha gyan, no? It's to receive the knowledge of our eternal identity. We have to pray like this. We're persons to be. What are we praying for? What are we wishing for? What do we desire in the heart? I mean, what do we want to become? We should think about that. Do I want to become this? No, I don't want to be this. It's not me. So we have to pray deeply in the heart to Krishna. Please, Krishna, help me. Give me the intelligence. Please give me the qualification. If you so desire, please kindly help me to understand who I am, to develop that realization of who I am in eternity with Radha and Krishna, of my rasa. And then when we receive the mercy of the Lord, then actually we should gradually, what happens when the heart purifies itself, then gradually we become more and more attracted to specific personalities in Vrindavan. And Rupa Goswami says that actually we should meditate on that personality that attracts us, on his service, on his seva bhav, his mood, on his pastimes with Radha and Krishna, on his feelings. And this is a way to connect to our eternal reality. So today, we have many heroes. In this world, Srila Prabhupada is my greatest hero, I must say. But I have a hero also in Vrindavan that I really deeply appreciate. And since we're friends, today I would like to speak about Subala Sakha. Does everybody knows here Subala Sakha? Yes, everyone knows who is Subala Sakha?
We don't know, that's why we have.
Could you please open that box again so that I can... I mean...
You click, Manish, click.
Okay. And I know the passwords. Yeah! Okay. So, first... Yes.
Hare Krishna, everybody on Zoom, are you hearing properly? Can you say yes? I'm not sure if it's going to close down or not.
Yes.
Jai.
It's working.
Okay. So, yes.
The people in the box, can you hear okay?
And can I close that little black box there so I can see the rest?
Put on the side, yeah.
On the side? Okay, I see. Yes. Okay, so Subala Sakha is a Priya Narma Sakha. Do you know what is a Priya Narma Sakha? So in the... what's the name of the book? Yes. Priyo Bhakti Rasarnava by Nayanandana Prabhu. Actually, he wrote a really nice book on the sakhas. More primarily like the Priya sakhas, but he explains the different sakhas also. He explains that there are 6 different kinds of sakhas. And one types of sakhas are the Priya Narma sakhas. We have the Priya Narma sakhis, which means the most dear intimate associates of Radharani. And the Priya Narma sakhas are the more dear...
Most friends of Krishna.
Yes, just like the Manjaris are the dearest, associates of Radharani, Priyanarma, means most dear. Actually, the Priyanarma Sakhas, they are the most dear friends, intimate friends of Krishna. And Srila Rupa Goswami describes in Ujjvala Nilamani, Atyantika Rahasyagya Saki Bhav Samashritaha. So these Priyanarma Sakhas, they're very special. And why they are most dear to Krishna? Because they know Krishna's heart. It's the same, like the Manjaris for Radharani and the Priyanarma Sakhas for Krishna. Just like the Manjaris, they know everything about Radharani's secrets hearts. The same thing, the Priyanarma Sakhas, they know everything about the heart of Krishna. So that's why you'll see they are very special friends. You'll understand why. So Rupa Goswami says they know the most intimate aspects of Krishna's life and have taken shelter in the mood of the Sakhis. Interesting. Because also Subala Sakha is actually the most of all of Krishna's friends. Subala Sakha is Krishna's most intimate friend. And also is a very dear friend to Srimati Radharani. You'll understand why. So, Shrijiva Goswami explains that when out of affection for both Krishna and Radha, they desire to unite the divine couple, at that time their masculine nature is subdued and they act like sakhis. This is quite amazing. That's why we have yet to know so much about Vrindavan. So when we think about Madhurya Ras, we think mostly about the gopis, right? Now what's come to mind first is the gopis. But did you know that Madhavendra Puri was a tree, a Kalpavriksha tree, a wish-fulfilling tree in the spiritual world? Do you know in which rasa he is? It's described. Yes. Madhavendra Puri is a tree in the spiritual world, is in Madhurya Ras. And he experiences Mahabhav. And he is the tree, the foundation of the tree of the conjugal love of Madhurya Ras. This is amazing. So that means that actually, in the spiritual world, what is there first is the feeling. And the feeling brings a particular form. So if, example, the cows are in Vatsalya Ras, but still they're cows. And someone might say that they are in Shanta Ras, but no, the cows are in Vatsalya Ras. They have maternal affection towards Krishna. So from that we can understand that rasa is not determined just by the form. Rasa is primarily determined by what?
Feeling.
The feeling. So that's why that tree, Madhavendra Puri, the feeling is in connection to Radha and Krishna. And we might think that because the feeling of Madhurya Rasa is there, that I have to have the form of a gopi, but not necessarily. Because in Goloka Vrindavan, different forms can, just like the cows, it can be mothers to Krishna, a tree can be in that relationship. Think about that for a sec. What happens? When Krishna and Radharani, they are together in the kunjas of Vrindavan or Radhakunda, they're not alone. I mean, they're alone at some point, but there are many personalities. There are birds, there are trees, there are flowers, there's like every ornament is a person. Well, Radha and Krishna, they're wearing ornaments all the time. There are persons also. Flowers are there. So flowers, when Radha and Krishna are together, they have flowers together. What is the experience of these flowers? Are they in Shantaras? So we have to understand from that actually rasa is way beyond our understanding, you know. Because we read from a small understanding, a small vision, we see in a certain way by how the acharyas have described. But so much is there to be described yet, you know. And there's so many subtleties also that we don't understand. That's why it's difficult for us to understand how is that possible for the Madhavendra Puri to be in Madhurya Ras. It doesn't mean that Madhurya Ras doesn't mean necessarily that the tree will be in a direct connection with Krishna. It's not like that. But just like the Manjaris, although they don't have direct, they're not part of the rasa dance, Madhurya Ras means that they are sensitive towards the feelings of the divine couple and they want to unite the divine couple together. And they are nourishing their bhav in their attachment towards Radha and Krishna. So this is the bhav. That's why we can understand that there can be also different personalities. Just like the mothers also can be, just like the cows can be mothers, they can be sakya also in other forms. But it's just that it has not been described yet. You understand? So the thing we'll see when the Sankirtan movement will develop. So primarily speaking, we see that actually most acharyas that came down since Chaitanya Mahaprabhu have been Manjaris. If we understand, like Bhaktivedanta Thakur was Kamala Manjari. But also there have been like this Nayanandana who was a Priya Sakha. He wrote a book about the Sakhas, you know, about the Priya Sakha Rasa. And we know from the story of Gopakumar also was a Priya Sakha. He explains his whole daily life with Krishna in Goloka Vrindavan. So we'll see. We have not yet seen, but we'll see that over the next 10,000 years, many acharyas have to come down naturally. Because what do you do if you're a parrot in the spiritual world? You need to be nourished in your eternal rasa. So just like there's this personality that wrote a book on the Priyasakas, there will be personalities in the future that will write a book about the cows that are cows eternally, that are flowers, or parrots, or trees. It has to be. How do you get nourishment if you're in a specific rasa and you don't get description of it? If you're meant to be, how do we say, a nurse in Vatsalya Ras, and, you know, assist Mother Yashoda in serving Krishna. You need to hear stories, subtleties, what is the love of Mother Yashoda. You need to hear these things. It's so important. So we'll get to see in the future that naturally there has to be so many acharyas that will come to describe. Like example, in Navadvip, there's one temple of Chandravali with her Astasakis. Because there are devotees there who are meant to be connected eternally with Chandravali. And for that connection, they need to have a deity, a murti, and explanations, and rasa, and leelas, and, you know, tattva, so that they can connect to this. So this is just the beginning. Our movement is very young. The Sankirtan movement is very young. It's meant to be there for the next 10,000 years. So much more will be revealed over the future. So it's just a small drop we're receiving now. So much more will be revealed so that everyone, according to their eternal reality, where they are like, whether they are sakhas or gopis or birds or trees or flowers, or a chair, they will get the necessary spiritual food so that they can actually open themselves to that eternal reality of them. Okay, we'll open the box again. So, yes, that's why at that time, just like Jiva Goswami explains, their masculine nature is subdued and they act like Sakis. And later on you will see, in Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Ratamrita Sindhu, we find this passage wherein Srimati Radharani describes confidential service to Krishna using his friend Subala as an example. So there was talk among the friends of Radharani, the gopis, about these most intimate friends of Krishna. One gopi addressed Radharani thus. She said, "My dear Krisangi, delicate one, just see how Subal is whispering your message into Krishna's ear, how he is delivering the confidential letter of Shyamadasi silently into Krishna's hand, how he is delivering the betel nuts prepared by Palika into Krishna's mouth, and how he is decorating Krishna with the garland prepared by Taraka. Did you know, my dear friend, that all these most intimate friends of Krishna are always engaged in his service in this way? Out of the many intimate Priyanamasakas, Subal and Ujjval are considered to be the most prominent." So Subal demonstrates pure love for Krishna by serving both Krishna and his beloved Radharani in great measure. And Radharani, she has a special relationship with Subal because Raghunath Das Goswami, he says, this is in Srila Vraj-Bilastava, that filled with deep love for him and anxious that they may be separated, Subal never, even in dream, lets go of the hand of Sri Krishna, the moon of Gokul. Subal's heart is sprinkled with the waters of the swiftly moving mountain stream of devotion to Srimati Radhika. And we're speaking about Subal Sakha. So from there we can see that actually it is even possible because later on it is described that Subal Sakha, he experiences Mahabhav. This is described by Vishwanath Chakravarti in his commentary on Ujjvala Nilamani. Actually, Pranama Sakhas like Subal Sakha, they experience Mahabhav. This is the love of Srimati Radharani. So that means that even Pranama Sakhas, they can experience Madhurya Ras actually with Radha and Krishna. So we'll see later what kind of services they do. So I offer my respectful obeisances to Subal, whose body trembles with love for Shri Shri Radha Krishna. So Subal is described in Shastra as having a fair complexion. He wears handsome blue garments and is decorated with many types of jewels and flowers. And you know what is the particularity of Subal Sakha? He looks exactly like Srimati Radharani, except he doesn't have breasts, naturally. And he's 2 years younger. He's 12 years and a half. Srimati Radharani is 14 years and a half. And the hands are the same, the feet are the same, the face is the same, but he is in the body of a boy. And that's why we'll share some pastimes if we have the time, where actually Radharani, she disguises as Subal Sakha, so that she can go and meet Krishna. So during Krishna's Vrindavan Lila, he is described as, we said that, 12 years old, and he glows with youthful luster. Although he is Krishna's friend, he is immersed in serving Krishna in many different ways. He is expert at arranging the meetings of the divine couple, and is taken into the confidence of both Radha and Krishna. He is charming and full of transcendental love for them. So Subal is cheerful, is full of good qualities, and is very dear to Krishna, because we said he's Krishna's most intimate friend, and he's a messenger between Radha and Krishna to organize their meetings. And there's much more. So the name Subal also is described as meaning very powerful, and it's stated in Garga Samhita 8.13, where Subal is given as number 106 of the 1,000 names of Lord Balaram. But Srimati Radharani, she's also called Subal. So in Nectar of Devotion, Prabhupada says in chapter 41 that Subal and his glorious qualities are further described. Subal's body is described as follows. His complexion is just like molten gold. He's like Srimati Radharani. He's very, very, Prabhupada says that, very, very dear to Krishna. He always has a garland around his neck and he wears yellow clothing. His eyes are just like lotus flower petals and is so intelligent. By his talking and his moral instructions, all the other friends take the highest pleasure. Let us all offer respectful obeisances unto Krishna's friend Subal. The degree of intimacy shared by Krishna and Subal can be understood by the fact Prabhupada speaking, that the talks between them were so confidential that no one else could understand what they were saying. So Subala Sakha, you understand, we were saying the Pranama Sakhas, they understand everything about Krishna's heart. And that's why they're able to get Radha and Krishna to meet together. So, yes. Okay. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, it says in Sri Vraj Chintamani that some friends are considered very confidential and some fortunate friends perform confidential services. Subal, Ujval, and other splendid others who are as good as the gopis, because we're saying the manjaris for Radharani and the pranama sakhas for Krishna. But what is the particularity of the pranama sakhas is that they are able, because they're those that are like Subasaka, because there is that Madhurya Ras that is there, they have that qualification to be able to unite the divine couple together and that even be present in the kunj with Radha and Krishna. So the level of Subala's love for Krishna is described by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his Ujval Nilamani Karan. The gopis of Braj who possess Samartarati possess of a deeper love for Shyam Sundar, which is up to the limit of Mahabhav, the love of Radharani. Amongst Subal and some of the other cowherd boys, the limits of the Lord can be found to also extend up to Mahabhav. A proof, just like the tree, Madhavendra Puri was in Mahabhav, also Subal Sakha, he has that experience of the love of Srimati Radharani. That's why he is actually able to bring Radha and Krishna together. So, okay.
Can you read the last verse again?
Which one?
The one you just said about him being able to experience Madhurya.
Yes. The gopis of Braj who possess Samartarati possess a deeper love of Shyam Sundar, which is up to the limit of Mahabhav. Amongst Subal and some of the other cowherd boys, the limits of their love can be found to also extend up to Mahabhav. So, we have to understand that Krishna's relationship with his friend Subal, there's different kinds of relationship that is there. The two, they have many pastimes together serving as cowherd boys, and they join the other Gopas and Gopis also in many adventures in the fields and the groves of Braj. And along with Krishna and Balaram, Subal is involved in some of the demon pastimes. We know he helps killing the Dhenukasura. He gave a straight hit in the face of Dhenukasura. And Subal, he also assisted Krishna in the toll booth pastime. This is a whole other pastime that I would love to share with you, but time is limited. And he was the central figure in the business of buying and selling pearls in between Radha and Krishna. You know that story of the pearls. Beautiful story. Pearls. Yes. So, yes. So there are many different pastimes where Krishna, he takes his dearmost friend Subal into confidence, talking with him about his attraction for Radharani and the various problems he faces in meeting her. And Subal, as a trusted friend, is very expert at making arrangements for the two to meet. Okay, wait a sec. I have something very beautiful I'd like to share with you. Yes. This is from a song of Govindadas. This is in Padyavali. So Govindadas, he sings in that song that Krishna, who is the Lord of the poor and the meek, and the hero that vanquished Kaliya, he stays in a Kadamba tree shade on the Yamuna's banks. And Lord Krishna, he says, he's in the company of Subal. He says, how many girls of Braj have I seen? Still, this one girl is splendid like a garland of unmoving lightning flashes. Oh, friend Subal, I tell you, from that moment, I no longer know whether it is day or night. In that place where 2 or 4 beautiful girls splendid like glistening jewels, but only one of those girls cast a spell on my heart. I keep that girl in my heart. My heart is filled with the smoke of Kamadev's flames. Lost in the smoke, I cannot see the directions. Moment after moment, I am wrapped in thinking of this lady. I know nothing but her. I am overcome by the fever of separation from her. Day after day, my body becomes more thin and emaciated. Govinda says, these are the signs of new love. So Krishna is speaking with Subal. And in Srimati Radharani's confidential relationship with Subal, he is described also as her servant, confidential friend and messenger. Sometimes he brings messengers from Krishna to Radharani or from Radharani to Krishna. And Rupa Goswami, he says also in Radha Krishna Ganadesh Dipika that also included among Srimati Radharani's servants along with the gopis are Gargi Devi and other very respectable Brahmin girls, Bringarika Devi and other girls from the Cheti community. And also, as well as the boys, Subal, Ujval, Gandharva, Madhumangal. And Raktaka Madhumangal is also Priya Namasaka. So confidential friend to Radha and Krishna. That's why he's always staying with Krishna also in Nandagram. So actually, Subala Sakha's intimacy with the divine couple is described in Ujjvala Nilamani. I thought it was Ujjvala Nilamani Karan by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, but I made a mistake. It's from Rupa Goswami. There's a beautiful verse. Is there any service to Krishna that Subala has not the right to perform? When Krishna's mistress gets angry with him and runs off, who goes to meet Radharani? Subala. It is Subala who follows her and entreats her to come back. He prepares the kund also, the flowers, everything, so that Krishna can meet Radharani. He's also present to assist them. This is what is described by Rupa Goswami. So just as Krishna's transcendental qualities are sometimes described in relationship to his friend Subal, Radharani herself is also described in this way in the 108 names of Shri Radhika that we find in the Radhika Stottara Sata Namastotra by Raghunath Das Goswami. We find that 2 of Radha's names are associated with Subal. First, Radha, who looks like Subal. And second, who is happy when Subal is happy. So 2 names of Srimati Radharani. Also, in Rupa Goswami Shistavamala, we hear, yes, that she's pleased with Subal, another name of Radharani. She's pleased with Subal. And again, Raghunath Das Goswami says, again in the Radhika Stottara Satanama Stotra, that another name of Radharani, who has bestowed a form equal to hers to Subal, and who is very fond of Subal. So most intimate friend to Radharani also. Okay. Yes. Just to show how much Subal is present, with Radha and Krishna, in the Prema Purabhida Stotra by Raghunath Das Goswami, there's a nice prayer that says that, O Radha, who, dressed in white flowers, decorated with camphor and a hand resting on a gopi messenger, meets Subal's friends Krishna on a sweet moonlit spring night. So during the night, Subala Sakha is also present. Most Sakhas are sleeping at that time, but the categories like Subala Sakha, they are present also in the nightly pastimes to assist Radha and Krishna, because they're Krishna's most intimate friends. Okay, so there's so many things, but I think I'll move forward. Maybe I'll finish before I share a pastime. Okay, I'll read something else from Srila Prabhupada, Nectar of Devotion, chapter 42. He says, when Krishna and Subal were embracing one another, because they're so dear friends, Srimati Radharani became a little envious. And hiding her hot temperament, she said, my dear Subal, you're very fortunate, because even in the presence of superiors, you and Krishna have no hesitation in putting your arms on each other's shoulders. I think it must be admitted that in your previous lives you have succeeded in many kinds of austerities. And Prabhupada continues, the idea is that although Radharani was accustomed to putting her arms on Krishna's shoulders, it was not possible for her to do such a thing in the presence of her superiors, whereas Subal could do so freely. Radharani therefore praised his good fortune. So, shall I share a pastime? Do we have time? Or yes? Okay. So, it's not Gopastami, I'm very sorry. But because today I wanted to glorify this very wonderful personality that is Subala Sakha, I wanted to share with you 2 pastimes. The first one is Subal Milan. Have you ever heard of that one? It's described on Gopastami. Did you know? Well, okay, I'll ask you a question. We'll see what is your knowledge about Srimati Radharani's lotus feet. What is the only festival where we are allowed to show Srimati Radharani's lotus feet? Ah, yes, Gopastami. Why?
Because she wore a dhoti.
Ah, exactly, because she wore a dhoti. She dressed as Subala Sakha and Gopastami to go meet Krishna. So that's the only time, because we dress at our temple. If you have the chance to look at our pictures of our temple, we have a deity of Subala Sakha. Actually, it is the only deity of Subala Sakha on the planet. Even in Boma Vrindavan, you cannot find a deity of Subal. So we have a very beautiful deity of Subal. And what we do, on Gopastami, we dress Subal like Radharani, we put him next to her on the altar. We have Radha Kunja Bihari. Very beautiful darshan. Poof. Amazing. So we dress Subal as Radharani and we dress Radharani as Subal. All together like that. It's so beautiful. Very special darshan. So it's the only time where we can see the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. Yes. And this is actually, the Acharyas describe that the greatest gift we can ever receive is what? To have darshan of the lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. Prabhupada says that in a class on Radhastami on September 5, 1973, I think in London. Yes. Srila Prabhupada, he explains, I don't have it right away in front of me, but he says how we can only get to Krishna through Srimati Radharani. And because, Krishna is completely conquered by the love of Radharani, we have to go to Radharani and beg her to bring us to Krishna. It's a very beautiful thing Srila Prabhupada says in this lecture. Okay, so it starts. One day, okay, close your eyes for a sec, just imagine. So Krishna is at Radhakund. And we know from the Govinda Lilamrita and all these books that describe the daily pastimes of Radha and Krishna, that Krishna he spends how many hours in Radhakund? From exactly 10:42 to 3:24. Or 48?
10:48 to 3:36.
36? Okay. So he spends many hours at Radhakund for what? To go meet Srimati Radharani. And you understand what he does? He's with Balaram and millions of sakhas. And then he says, Balaram, I'm sorry, but I don't feel good now. I think I have some fever. If you don't mind, I'd like to go walk a little bit with Subala. So he goes with Subasaka and Madhumangal and the Priyanamasakas, and together they go to Radhakund to meet Radharani and the gopis. That's why Priyanamasakas are very special. So, but on that day, Krishna was there at Radhakund and Srimati Radharani wasn't there. Why? I have one word, but I don't dare to say it. Jatila. Whoa! So actually, Radharani, she was not there that morning because actually that morning, Jatila, she was staying on a chair at the doorstep of the palace that was built by Vrishabhanu Maharaj. And she had an eyes on the window of Srimati Radharani, and she didn't want Srimati Radharani to come out at that time. Or somehow Krishna came earlier, I don't have the detail. But Krishna was there at Radhakund, and Radharani was there, was with Subala, and he was crying and crying. And then, so what happened is that actually he was in so much separation. And on that day, because actually Radharani was not there, and Krishna was on the verge of dying, because Radharani was not there. Radharani is the life and soul of Krishna. Madan Mohan Mohini. Huh? So Brinda Devi, when Srimati Radharani, she made a very nice flower garland for Krishna and she gave it to Brinda Devi. She said, you take and you give this to Krishna. So Brinda Devi, she thought, but Subasaka is a Priyanamasaka. It's very dear to Krishna. If Subasaka takes and gives it to Krishna, then Krishna will become very pleased. So Brinda Devi, she gave the garland to Subasaka. And Krishna received the garland. It was midday and Krishna was sitting on the bank of Radhakund. So Subala came and gave the garland to Krishna. Then he explained everything, who had prepared the garland, how it had come into his hand, and how he was handing it over to Krishna. And then Krishna says, oh, I was just sitting here thinking about Srimati Radharani. When you brought me her garland, my mind is very much agitated. Please help me, Subal. Please help me. Bring Radharani here. Please bring Radharani here. I want to meet with her. And Subali said, oh my friend, this is not a good time. It's noontime. It's quite impossible to bring Radharani here now. Oh my friend, give up this hope. It's quite impossible. And Krishna says, but my dear friend, my mind is very restless and agitated. Unless you bring Radharani for me, then I will drown myself in the Yamuna river and finish my life. I cannot survive this. And Subali thought, oh my friend, Krishna, he cannot survive. He will drown in the Yamuna. All right, then. By hook or by crook, somehow or other, I must bring Radharani and give pleasure to my friend. So, actually, Subasaka, he goes to Javat. He goes to Radharani's father-in-law's house. And Radharani's mother-in-law, Jatila, she had just finished taking her lunch. So what did he do? He brought a calf with him. And just before he arrived, at the entrance, he twisted the Gopas sometimes with the calves, huh? They have some fights between them also. So he twisted the tail of the calf and he ran away immediately. So he asked Jatila, he said, so he knocked on the door and Jatila was there waiting and she was looking at Radharani at the window. And she said, but hey, Subal, because she knows he's very dear friend to Krishna. And she thought maybe he's up for some, The little rascal, he might be up for something special. So she says, why have you come here at noontime? And she knows, oh, this boy has come for some purpose. Yes, he's a naughty boy. Why are you come here at this time? And Subal, with much humility, says, oh, mother, one of my calves is missing. I have searched all of the expected places, but I couldn't find him. At last, I have come here. He might be here, mother. Would you please go in and see if my calf is here? Aha. Go pass, huh? I will be freed from anxiety if I know my calf is here or not. And Jatila, she became very angry. I have already taken my lunch. I cannot move myself. You go inside and see. He was expecting her to say that. So it was very difficult to go inside because she was sitting at the doorstep. So he got the opportunity, and remembering Yogamaya, Subasaka prayed and he entered the inner apartment where Radharani was. So actually Jatila, she doesn't have good vision. She's half blind, so she's looking, but at the same time she cannot see everything. So this is Krishna's mercy. She sees, but not everything, So he's able to go in. So he goes to Radharani, he tells everything to Radha. He says, Krishna is sitting there on the bank of Radhakund, intensely thinking of you. You have to go there, otherwise he will drown himself in the Yamuna. And Radharani, she says, how would it be? This is an awkward time, and my mother-in-law is sitting there at the doorstep. How can I go? How can I go? And Subal Sakha, we know, he has the same appearance as Srimati Radharani. So he said to her, all right, Radharani, you take my garments. So they have the same color of garments also. Huh? Subasaka's blue garments. So he gave his dhoti, his kurta, his turban, and everything to Radharani. So you put all of this on, now you give me your sari. I will put on your sari and remain here. The exchange close. So it's a side note. But Subal, to be like Srimati Radharani, he put 2 appropriate mangoes there in the sari. So then how to get out? The keen eyes of Radharani's mother-in-law, they're there. And her sister-in-law, Kutila also, they're there on Radharani. How to get out? And now Radharani, she was dressed in his clothes. Subasaka told her, pick up a calf, hold the calf. So the calf was there, he let him go. And Jatila, she didn't see the little calf coming in the palace. So she said, you pick the calf and you press it, you take it to you, and then you leave like that. So dressed in the form of Subal, she picked the calf, pressed it to her breast, and she passed through like that. So when she came to where Jatila was sitting, Radharani, as Subasaka said, Mother, I got my calf. Oh, you got your calf? All right, very good. Now go away, get out. So Radharani, she got out and went to Radhakund and met Krishna. Could I have a little bit of water, please?
Yes, ma'am.
So Subali gets out of, at that time, actually, Subali was in the house at that time, but he was still wearing Radharani's sari. So how he was able to get out, that was another problem. And at noontime, the damsels of Brajmani, we know, where do they go at noontime? Well, a little before. Yeah, they go to Suryakund to offer the puja to Suryadev. So it was that time, and all the damsels of Brajbhumi, they came out from their houses. So Jatila, she called, hey, daughter-in-law, aren't you going to go to Suryakund to offer puja to Suryadev? And imitating Radha's voice, Subasaka said, yes, mother, I'm going. So before Subasaka left, actually, so Radharani, in the disguise of Subasaka, she came in the kunj, and thank you so much. So Radharani, dressed as Subasaka, she came out, and actually that place, so there are different pastimes. Sometimes it says that it was at Radhakund, because many pastimes or the same pastime can happen at different places. Sometimes it's at Kokilavan also, the forest of Kokus, that is just next to... So there are different variations with this pastime. So this one is in Radhakund, sometimes in Kokilavan, the forest of Kokus. So Krishna, he goes into, not Krishna, sorry. Radharani, dressed as Subal, she enters into the kund, and then Krishna is sad because he sees Subal, Sakai comes back alone. So he said, oh, what happened? And then Radharani, dressed as Subal, she had an idea. She wanted to test Krishna's love. What did she do? She went to Krishna and she said, as Subal said, I'm sorry, I could not take away Radharani. Jatila was there, Kutila was there, they were watching on the room, and I could not do anything to bring her out. It was impossible. So Krishna, he was crying. He said, better I drown myself in the Yamuna. And then Radharani, she thought of something. She said, actually, she said to Krishna, she said, "Oh, Krishna, but if you want, actually, you know what I can do? I can go to meet Chandravali. Radharani is not there, but Chandravali is there. She's available. And if you'd like, I can bring Chandravali to you so that you can go and meet her." And then Krishna said, "No, no. Actually, with Radharani it is most complete, and with Chandravali it is just like a shadow of what I can experience with Radharani." And then Radharani, she was very pleased. And what did she do? She embraced Krishna immediately. And then Krishna, he understood that this was Srimati Radharani. And Subala Sakha, dressed as Radharani, came back later with all the gopis from Suryakund, and then they met Radha and Krishna together in Radhakund performing their noon pastimes. So this is Subala Sakha, very special personality in Braj. So I have another story. Shall I share it? Or yes, what time is it?
It's time for story.
Yes, please share it, Maharaj.
So, have you ever heard that story of Radharani who becomes a gopa for a whole day? Yes? No? Aha! So in Vagdagda Vilas, a very rare book that Madhavananda Prabhu is translating right now, I have to ask him. I asked him 2 years ago, and I need to ask him again if that book is translated. Because it's a very beautiful book by... So, Vaidagda Vilas.
I've been waiting for it.
It's a book by Manohar Prabhu, who is a resident of Govardhan, and a pure devotee of the Lord, who wrote this book and sharing different stories. And in that book, there's Radharani who becomes a gopa. So it all starts. This was actually, I don't remember exactly what time of the year it was. Anyway, so Radharani, she was in deep separation from Krishna. And she says, "Oh, Prananath, the Lord of my life, soon he will go to herd the cows with his friends. How can I live without him? Oh, it will be so long. How will I survive?" She curses fate and she says, "Why did you make me a woman?" And then she thinks like that, "If only I could be a gopa. I could be with him and then I could fulfill my desire." We know when she saw Subala and Krishna embracing each other, she became envious because she was thinking, but it's transcendental jealousy. At the same time, she's glorifying Subala and she was thinking, "Oh, he's always with Krishna, you can embrace him publicly. How much I would love to do that." So she took that opportunity on that day. So she says, "If only I could be a gopa, I could be with him and then I could fulfill my desire. But if that doesn't happen, my entire life will pass in sadness and suffering. I must go herd the cows. So I will be with my prananath. I should go get permission from the Sakis to herd the cows, because Radharani, she is not independent from the Sakis. Except one time, and we share that story of the stolen ring. It's not the flute, but go like this, but of the stolen ring, where actually Krishna, he became her dance teacher, and now she all the Sakis were arguing, but she was really stubborn that day, and she didn't want to hear anything. She wanted to see her prananath. But on that day, she felt submissive to the Sakis. She thought, "Okay, let me ask permission from the Sakis." But that's true, she argued also a lot with the Sakis at that time. It's Radharani. When she wants to see Krishna, who can stop her? Sometimes Lalita Saki. So she goes to the Sakis and she's telling them, "Oh, Sakis, I feel so much separation from my prananath. Please, I'd like to ask you permission to go and be with my prananath the whole day with him in the sakas." And the gopis, they thought it. They said, "Oh, yeah, that's funny. They thought it was a joke, and I said, "What? What? Is it true? It's not a joke, Radharani?" And she was like that. No, I really want to be with Krishna in the sakas." So they said, "Go ahead. Krishna is waiting for you." But I said, "Okay." So I'll go. So the gopis, they say, "What?" Again, they were still thinking she was not. "What? Are you serious?" And then they tried to scare her. They said, "Balaram will be there." Radha is very embarrassed with him. And Jatila, what would she think if you go with Krishna in the sakas? So at that time, Madhu Mangali arrived with Subala Sakha. Again, Madhu Mangal. You see, he has a special role. Madhu Mangal is quite a rascal in the story. So yes, you'll see. He tried to blackmail Srimati Radharani. So Madhu Mangali arrives with Subala Sakha. And they understood her sadness because they understand the heart of Srimati Radharani, Priyanama Sakas. So Subala Sakha, he says, "You can go dressed as me, and I will dress as you. Keep a little distance from Balaram, and don't worry, the Priyanama Sakas will be with you, because only them were aware that actually Radharani was dressing as Subasaka. So Radha, she felt relieved and happy, and the gopis, they cry. No, we will come, we will all become gopas too, but it was not possible. So Krishna is a very beautiful song, which I would love to have the book, because I could share with you the whole song, but I just have a little summary there. But Krishna, he personally dressed Radha as Subal in blue, a turban, ankle bells, but the gopas, they have different ankle bells with different sounds also. Ankle bells, flower garland, nose ring, earrings, a staff, a rope, just like Subasaka. And when Krishna saw Radha dressed as Subal, he became completely ecstatic. And the gopis, they cried from seeing this darshan. Subasaka, disguised as Radha, and what did she do? When Subal, when he was finally disguised as Radha, what did he do? He looked at Krishna and the Sakis. What do you think he did? He winked. Like that, like Radharani, you know. And everyone was, wow, you know, because when Subal dressed like Radharani, it's very special. And when Radharani dresses like Subal, it's very special too. You see why. So the gopis, they were crying to see this beautiful darshan. And the youngest Kinkari, a Kinkari is a young Manjari. Like in Manjaris, they are under 13 years old. Some are even younger. They can be 9, 10 years old, like Manjaris, but very young. More like in the mood of Dasya, servants, you know. Just like also with Krishna, there are small cowherd boys that are 9, 10 years old, like Raktaka, Paktaka. No. One of these dearmost, like Gopa servants to Krishna. So, the youngest Kinkari, she began to cry, no, Radharani, I must go with you. And then Radharani, she was so much touched by the love, she was crying like that, you know, of this young Kinkari. She said, I'll take you with me, I'll disguise you, don't cry. So actually, after Krishna dressed Radharani and Subal was dressed also, together, sorry, too much lila. So together they went to Nandagram, and Mother Yashoda, when she saw Subal that day, she thought, wow, Subal looks very beautiful today. And she doesn't, you know, like, generally speaking, she doesn't, perceive so much Subal like that. You know, she sees her Krishna who is about to leave. But then that day, she really focused on Subal. She said, wow, you're so beautiful, Subal, today. Wow, his dress is so nice. And Manu Manga became nervous. We have to go herd the cows. Krishna winks at Radha, and then they leave like that, you know. And Krishna walks behind the cows. Okay, well, let's see. In the previous class, we asked you, why does he go behind the cows? Usually when he goes to make them graze in the pasturing grounds.
So we can look at Radha.
Yeah, so can see why Shrimati Radharani, like that. Huh? Yeah. So the same thing. So he went in the back with the cows, and he walks with Radha, and Krishna says to Radha Subal, he says, Pranapriye, like that. You should call the different cows, you know, because the Gopas, there's so many group leaders of cows, and Kalindi and Yamuna and Dhavali, and then the Gopas, sometimes they have to call their names, so they go and stay with the group of cows. So Krishna does like that, and Radha, she was very embarrassed. She's there dressed as Subal, and then Krishna notices her shyness like that, because she doesn't know what to do. She's never been a sakha. No, she's never been on the pasturing grounds. She's just used to, you know, do the different chores of the gopis. So she's like that, you know, very shy. And Krishna, when he sees her like that, but it's so beautiful, really shy like that, and he's very touched, you know, to see her like that. And then Madhu Mangal, again, he's part of the story here. He says, look, Kalindi is leaving the group. Take a stick and bring her back. And Radha, she takes the stick like that, and she, looking at her Kinkari who was there as a Gopa, and she looks at the stick, and what am I gonna do? And then the Kinkari, she said, oh yeah, I understand, it's hard to take care of the cows, don't worry. And then, at that time, Mother Yashoda, she sees Subal Radha, Subal dressed as Radharani. He says, oh my dear, I want to give you a new dress sweet for Jatila. And you know, like...
What dress, what?
A new dress, because we know every morning, Mother Yashoda, because she has, what is the secret desire of Mother Yashoda for Radharani? Yes, that they get married together. So she, you know, she has this every day, practically it's like that, you know, when after Radharani, she's so much pleased with how much she has cooked nicely for Krishna. And then when she sees Radharani, she feels in her heart that she wants her to be married to Krishna. And that's when she gives her the dress and the ornaments, you know. Beautiful treasure box full of ornaments and a beautiful new dress to bring. And she gives her that with the desire that, oh, actually, if you could be married to Krishna. So, Subali tries to stay a little distance from Mother Yashoda so that she doesn't hug him, because then the appropriate man goes, might fall down, we don't know. So it stays like that, takes some distance, I have to go. Then he takes the treasure and the clothes, and he goes, and when he arrives in Javat, in the palace, Jatila, when she sees Subal, because again, something special, when Radharani was dressed as Subal, there was some special beauty there. And because also Subal was dressed as Radharani, there was a special beauty there. So when Jatila, she saw Subal Radha like that, she became very attracted, and she took Subal Radha, and she put her on her lap, and she kissed him on the cheek. And then Subal said, I have to go. And then he left like that. And then we go back to the story with Krishna, Radha Subal, and Madhu Mangal. So Madhu Mangal, he says, okay, because he asked Radha, and she didn't want to go take the Kalindi, the cow that went astray. So Madhu Mangal looks at Radharani, he says, Radha, or Subal, give me a laddu or I call Balaram. And then he say, oh, Baladev. And when Radharani, she hears that, she flushes all of a sudden. And then she looks at her kinkari, she starts to be afraid. And the kinkari, she goes and brings her a laddu, and she brings the laddu to Madhu Mangal. So actually, Madhu Mangal is pacified, and he was joking like that with Radharani and Krishna. So after that, Krishna, he goes to Balaram like he does every day. He goes to Balaram, he says, please, Balaram, take care of the cows. I don't feel good today. I'd like to go into the forest with Subal. But on that special day, Subal was Radharani. So he was able to go meet Radharani in the forest dressed as Subal. And then later on, after actually Subal dressed as Radha went to Surya Kund, then they met also Radharani together in Radha Kund, and they were able to exchange their clothes like that. So, a little bit about the glories of Subal Sakha. Jai Subal Sakha ki! Jai Nitai Gaura Premanande.
You want to take any questions today?
Sure, yes.
There's somebody who posted a question there.
Okay, here's the question. Okay, is he closer to... You can see these are the questions here.
Can you repeat the questions also, Maharaj?
Yes. Nice questions. Thank you for these questions. So, one question about Subal, is he closer to Krishna or Radha, or equally to both? So just we hear that even in the groups of the Sakhis, some Sakhis are closer to Radharani, some Sakhis are closer to Krishna, and some Sakhis are close to Radha and Krishna. So as Subal Sakha, he has that mood where he's close to Radha and Krishna together, because he's that perfect messengers that bring them together. But we have to understand how close that means, is that when you have close in, like, equally close to Radha and Krishna, is that when Subal is with Krishna, is fully with him, and when Subal is Radharani, is fully with her. So that's how he's equally close to each and one and the other, like that. Does that answer your question? Is that okay? Okay. So we'll go to the next question. Does Madhurya Ras have many types of mood? Is it mainly about bringing Radha and Krishna together, or is it about conjugal love between the devotee and Krishna? So the former applies to Subal. Okay. So yes, Madhurya Ras has many different types of moods, just like we see like in the Sakha Ras, there's many different types of mood, although it has not been described so much by the Acharyas, and there's so many subtleties. So we were saying that actually in Madhurya Ras we can see in terms of mood, if we take for example the Astasakis, or the Priyasakis, like there are the Priyasakas for Krishna, who are equal to Krishna. The Priyasakis are equal to Radharani. The Manjaris are younger, mood of maidservants, and they are like more like, although, let's take the example of the Manjaris. They are in the Madhurya Ras, but in terms of actually bringing Radha and Krishna together, being sensitive to the romance of Radha and Krishna, sensitive of their feelings, and for that assisting them in bringing them together. So for the Sakhis, it's a little different. Like if we take the Priya Sakhis, they want to do that also, but they have that relationship where they're part of Rasa dance, and they also reciprocate with Krishna personally in the Rasa dance, things like that. So mood is a little different for the Priya Sakhis. For the Manjaris, it's different. It's the same for the Priyanamassakas. Priyasakas are intimate friend of Krishna in terms of like being equal to Krishna. Just like Sridham, in terms of Priyasaka, Sridham is closest friend to Krishna. In terms of Priyanamassakas, Subasaka is closest friend to Krishna. And Sridham, you know that sometimes, the pure Sakaras, it is like feeling equal to Krishna. And in that, there's special friendship. Sometimes, like Sridham, he plays wrestling with Krishna, things like that. So the Priyanamassakas, they're younger. And just like the Manjaris being younger, they're actually privy to the feelings and to the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. The same is there also for the Priyanamassakas. They're privy, being younger, being more innocent, privy to being able to be there and assist as young servants and maidservants in that way. So yes, there's many different moves, but it's not described so much in the Shastra. Many subtleties are there. But we hope in the future that more pure devotees of the Lord will come to describe more details about these wonderful rasas. Is that okay for that question? So the former applies to Subal. Okay. So about Subal Sakha, we're taking Priyanamasakis, Priyanamassakas, Manjaris, and Priyanamassakas. It's the same. Just like the Priyanamasakis, they are in Madhuraras in the sense that they are conscious and sensitive and they experience the feelings of the divine couple, want to bring them together, unite them, aware of the romance. The same also for the Priyanamassakas. They're in that sensitivity and they want to, being aware of that romance of Radha and Krishna, they want to bring them together. The difference between the Priyasakas and the Priyanamassakas is that the Priyasakas, being in complete friendship, they don't, actually they're not conscious fully of Krishna's feelings for Radharani. They know that Radharani is the beloved of Krishna, but they are not conscious of all of the feelings. Sometimes Krishna is with the Sakas and he's in so much separation from Radharani that although he's playing with the Sakas, he's about to, fall because he's in too much separation. The Sakas think that Krishna has played too much, and because of that, he's tired. And they bring them into a cocoon, they massage him. But Krishna internally, he is feeling so much separation than Radharani that actually he is losing consciousness. So the Priyasakas, they just want to, as friends, they want to take care of him because he's tired and that. But the Priyanamassakas, they understand Krishna's heart at that moment and they can feel Krishna's separation from Radharani. And for that, they assist him like that. But it's confidential, That's why they are confidential friends of Krishna. Although they are there together with all the Sakas, they are the only ones that are fully aware and sensitive of everything that Krishna is experiencing for the Radharani at that moment. And that's why, just like the Priyanamasakis, they are most intimate associate of Krishna, being very sensitive to his heart. So Subal is like that. Is that okay? So next, yes? Okay. So does Krishna usually follow Indian stretchable time or is punctual? Do you understand that question?
Yeah.
What is it?
Is he late or on time?
Like you said 10:40 or 3:36.
I'll just answer that question and after that's I've never, it's the first time I'm asked this question. So although, if we see the daily schedule, there's like dandas are 24 minutes, right? A danda is 24 minutes, so there's many dandas in a day. So usually during the day, like generally speaking, it always is the same thing at the same time and everything. But sometimes to give special flavor to the pastime or to create more union or more separation, because sometimes we hear the Sakis where they were with Krishna and that rasa dance one evening, it was like one day of Brahma or one night of Brahma. So time can stretch so that Radha and Krishna, they can spend longer time together, or sometimes it gets shorter so that the separation also is not felt so much. So, why did I say that? Yes, so although it's always the same time, sometimes Yogamaya, she arranges either for union or separation that there's some delay or some shorter time, So that's why sometimes it happens that Krishna is not there or Radharani is not there. Also, I think it is in the Vaidagda Vilas, there is this pastime, the book from Manohar Prabhu, where Radharani is disguised as a Gopa. There's that pastime where actually Krishna, yes. Actually, Krishna, he comes and he himself personally, he was there before. Most of the time, I would say it's Radharani waiting for Krishna, usually because she's in so much separation, she's coming first. But sometimes Krishna is late or first or late also. So there was this specific pastime where Krishna, he came before. And he arranged himself personally the whole koan. I won't share the whole story, it's too long, maybe another time. But very, very beautiful story where Krishna, or Radharani, she takes the dress of a sannyasi to take out Krishna's pouting. And very, very beautiful pastime. So Krishna is there, he prepares the whole kunj with beautiful flower arrangements, and Radharani doesn't come. And then Krishna, he starts to be angry. He destroys all the flower arrangements. And then he goes back to Nandagram like that, to his quarters, to his room. And then there's this whole pastime, but Radharani did not come that night because Mother Jatila, she asked him to cook for guests. And she couldn't come out of the house that night, actually. So it happens also even one night or more during the day, they cannot meet each other just to increase the separation like that, So that true, in separation there's union, and in union there's separation like that, Does that answer your question? So I will not say Indian stretchable time, I will say Vrindavan stretchable time. Is that okay? No. Okay. So yes, there was a question.
So Maharaj, if we see someone is suffering but doesn't want to take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet, so in such situation, how we can help?
So a question is that what can we do when we are suffering and we don't feel that we can take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet? What should we do? What can we do to help us? Actually, it's a very nice question. If we don't feel we have the lotus feet of Krishna in our heart, then, or if we don't feel that we have love for Krishna, we should always desire to desire to desire to desire. So desire is the root cause of everything. There's a verse in the Vedas that say that actually when we desire liberation, it comes. So if we see we don't have the desire or Krishna's lotus feet are not there, then we should cry. Crying is the actually utmost legitimate desire of the soul. Because Krishna, actually there's a beautiful quality. What is the primary quality of the soul described by Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the Harinam Chintamani? Primary quality of the soul. To?
Cry for Krishna.
Sorry?
So, to cry for Krishna?
Yes, in one sense, but not specifically what he says. To take shelter of Krishna is the primary quality of the soul. So this is just like Brahma prays to Krishna in the 10.14.8 of Srimad Bhagavatam, no? Like it has become his rightful claim. One, he patiently awaits. I'm just going to paraphrase. One, like suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds. One patiently awaits, offering his obeisances with his body, his mind, and his heart. And he does so because it is his rightful claim. So our primary quality is to take shelter of Krishna, and it is a rightful claim to take shelter of him, and it is Krishna's rightful claim to take care of us. So it is our absolute, ultimate right to cry out to Krishna and to pray for him. And it is also Krishna's absolute, ultimate, it's more than right, but obligation. Obligation to reciprocate with us. Because Krishna is Purush and we're Prakriti. So in our nature, we're meant to take shelter of Krishna and beg for his lotus feet. So Krishna has no choice but to give his lotus feet. Does that answer your question?
That was wonderful. I also wanted to know if we are seeing someone who is suffering and we can see it, but they are not ready to kind of take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. So in that situation, how we can help?
Well, first thing you can see if you can actually speak to that person and help that person to develop faith in Krishna, but sometimes it's not possible. And this is love. Even Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita 3:20, I think. He says that when someone is too attached to sense gratification, we should not disturb that person. But we should engage that person unknowingly in acts of devotion. So what does that mean? So that is love. Krishna never forces himself on people. And we should not force ourselves on people. That's why we should not be fanatic. Or we should not be trying to convert people or push them to become devotees. Because Krishna himself does not do that. This is love. Love means freedom. And Krishna is doing it. And we should follow in Krishna's footsteps. So first we try to inspire. But if we feel that person is not ready, we should not push. Because if we push, then that person may develop animosity towards Krishna. Because actually there's a principle when we help someone, if there's no deep relationship of trust and confidence, if we try to instruct someone, then we can become that person's enemy. Or one person, the person is not qualified enough. If we're pushing too much Krishna consciousness on that person can reject the devotees and develop like a... Instead of faith, they are complete opposite. So it depends on the situation. So if we feel that we cannot speak, I mean, we should pray to Krishna, because on our own, who are we to help others? You know, we should pray to Srila Prabhupada, or to our Gurudev, to Srila Prabhupada, first to the Guru Parampara, and then to Radha and Krishna, to give us the intelligence so that we can understand what's going on in the heart of the person. This is very important when we preach to others. We should always pray to actually receive the proper intelligence so that we are sensitive to the needs of the individual. Otherwise, we may think with our own false ego that we're going to say this or do that, but it might not work exactly like this. So we always have to pray deeply in our heart. Please make me, if you so desire, an instrument so that I can help and inspire that person. And if you feel that no help is possible, then you can pray. You can pray. Prayer is very important, and we should pray sincerely to Radharani and Krishna and Srila Prabhupada that they may bless and pour their mercy and blessings upon this soul in need of assistance. Does that answer your question? Thank you for the nice question. It's very nice. Yes?
It was a very sensible answer. Thank you so much.
Is that good?
That was a wonderful answer. You cannot force anyone.
Yes, exactly.
Maharaj, in the beginning of the lecture, you raised a point that how Prabhupada was struggling and fighting with Krishna. I don't want to go to this world. And when Krishna told that he's arranging everything for Srila Prabhupada. Now, honestly, that was a lot of difficulty for Srila Prabhupada.
Yes, that's true.
It was not an easy path. He struggled a lot.
Yes, so much.
Gallons of blood.
So much.
Was the smooth paved for him.
Yes, that's true. This is actually the love and play on Krishna and his devotee. Just like we hear from Kunti Devi. Krishna does that. Actually, he puts with Srila Prabhupada, with Bhaktisiddhanta, Bhaktivinoda, they went through a lot of hardships also. Kunti Devi, the Pandavas, I mean, they're put in so much difficulties, and the Lord, he does that to glorify his devotee, to glorify his qualities, to glorify his complete shelter in the Lord. Just like Prabhupada, he was in the Jaladuta. And for those of you who have been to Boston, have you all been to Boston Pier? You've not been to Boston Pier. It's a very special place. You have to go one day. Right? When I went with Maharaj, he was crying and crying. Very powerful place. So, Prabhupada was at the Boston Pier. The first Americans he saw were like salesmen, not salesmen, as, how do you call that? Marine, marine people. But not in the army, but like...
Sailors?
Sailors, yes, exactly, thank you. So he saw sailors who were drunk with prostitutes. It's the first Americans he met, and he felt like, what am I going to do, People in so much ignorance and passion here. How will I be able to convey the message of the Srimad Bhagavatam to these poor conditioned souls? And Prabhupada, he cried and he wrote at the Boston Pier, the Markine Bhagavad Dharma. And then in that beautiful prayer, he says, please, make me dance, make me dance, make me dance. Oh Krishna, you can do everything. Please, if you do so want to, my name is Bhaktivedanta. Please, if you so desire to make